before anybody. Now, hey, look, we're going to tell everybody this. Every ounce of pain and suffering, God's spirit lives in every creature. Every single individual creature. God's spirit, look, we're going to tell you something. Don't take this the wrong way, because God can just poof you, nigga. Like, God is your life, but, nigga, you his, too. Illuminati, you are God's life. You're the reason for God's existence. If God has no creatures, he has no reason to exist. God is love. God designed himself literally just to love, nigga. Like, that's what he do, nigga. Illuminati, God, like it's all designed for God's pleasure. And God is love. Alright? God has felt every ounce of pain and suffering. And Richard Dawkins, we're looking at you like, so what couldn't God, why didn't God do it himself? God has felt every ounce of pain and suffering. Times 7, nigga. Now, before y'all is like, don't feel too bad for God, because he can give himself strength. He ain't been tripping, nigga. Not a time, nigga. He got a bag of wrath. He puts all, and he's like shake and bake. Like he a few times in human history, like he destroyed entire civilizations just to say, no, this wrath, Satan. Like, we trying to tell Satan. Satan knows. The reason why he tempts man to sin, he try to make God look like the bad guy. Because he knows that when a civilization becomes too evil, God will just wipe them out. Like, we're the Mayans, nigga. We're the Mayans, nigga. Like, God would just wipe you out. Just just gone. Poof, where'd you go? I don't know. Just you gone, nigga. I mean, God will wipe out an entire civilization. Like, where'd they go? I don't know. Like, gone. It's secret mercy. What Satan didn't realize is it's secret mercy. But the message that was sent to Satan and hell's angels is God is far worse. God was trying to say he's worse. And hell's angels got it. They was trying to make God look bad because they felt like he was bad. So they was like, yeah, you bad. And God's like, yeah, no, yeah. So they got to rod you back. That's when we say you get to rod you back. I mean, it was like, yeah, no. God ain't evil. Under no circumstances God evil. But this is what happens when bad meets evil. Satan met bad. If you're evil, God is far worse. Yes, he is. And we had Satan out here fucking man because Satan, they forgot. Ladies and gentlemen, your judgment belongs to Jesus. And the Bible says Jesus died for the sins of the whole world. As in to forgive you. As in nobody's ever been to hell. Jesus' job was to manipulate God. Kind of how Moses prayed. Like, God wanted to destroy the Israelites because of what they did. And God gave himself a reason not to destroy them. That's what God does. God has had himself on maximum wrath the entire time. Maximum wrath the entire time. Maximum wrath the entire time. Illuminati, you might want to... Jesus' job was to make Satan torment God. That's what he wanted. That was his main thing, is tormenting God. He wanted to torment God the most. So he got his wish. The sin, look, God has felt every ounce of pain and suffering in human history. Every ounce, every stub toe, God has felt every ounce of pain and suffering in human history times 7. Times 7. He took it, but he put it in a bag of wrath. He put it in a bag of wrath. What's really been torturing God is the sin. God hates sin. He don't have it, nigga. Like, in heaven, it's a perfect world. They just don't have it, nigga. Like, none. God hates sin. And the sin has been... God's spirit lives in every creature. Matter of fact, the reason why animals exist on earth, it's new. It's not like this in every world. It's to help God chill. The animals exist on earth to help God chill while all this was going on. Because he has been set on maximum wrath the entire time. Satan wanted war with God. Illuminati, he got it. 6,000 years Satan has been at war with God and he had no idea. 6,000 years Satan has been at war with God and he had no idea. He thought the war was like him and Jesus. Like we trying to preach and save the world and he's trying to fuck the world. Now, we wanted him thinking that because, I mean, God and Jesus, they don't lie. I mean, that's really been but it's like, what they've been doing is, how sure are you that you want to be fucked, Satan? It's like, how sure are you that you're fucked, Satan? So fire? No. That was day one. That's in the past, nigga. Fire? That's in the past, nigga. Illuminati? Satan will get like eternal hellfire times 7 for every person he ever tried to get damned to hell for eternity. Illuminati, you're a dick, nigga. Satan calls you a condom because he was going to use you to take God's throne and then torture you. Illuminati, Satan was going to use you to get God's throne and then torture you. That was his thing. That's why he do what he do. He was going to use you to get God's throne and then torture you. Like, get away. Yeah, no. And then it's rape. The day that he tortured God's creation and got it nice and tortured, it was rape. Yep. So, what God has had Satan out here doing is earning eternal punishment for every creature he would have tortured. That's why he's the accuser. The Bible says, do not judge and you will not be judged. And Satan is the accuser. Satan just go around judging everybody. And he pray to God, snitching, nigga. He snitch to God. He prays and he snitches to be a smart ass. What's he doing? Condemning everybody for every little sin they've ever did. He torments anxiety and depression, that voice in your head that tells you ain't good enough, that's Satan. Ladies and gentlemen, you know that voice, like when you're working out and the voice comes in your head and tells you ain't good enough. And that voice in your head that tells you ain't good, that voice in your head that accuses you of every little thing you ever did wrong, no, that's Satan. We want everyone to know, you've had, a lot of people have a relationship with Satan they don't know about it. It's not a good one. That voice that tells you ain't shit, that voice that belittles you, that voice that bullies you, that's Satan. But don't worry, Satan will be tortured for every creature in creation. Every creature. As in, God is going to make many Satans everywhere. Hell is going to be filled with many Satans. Matter of fact, we're going to tell you one of Satan's fantasies. Satan, we're just going to tell you one. One of Satan's fantasies was to overpopulate the earth to the point where nobody could move. Make the entire earth like chicken houses. Make the entire earth like chicken houses. So God is going to fill hell with Satans like chicken houses. And they're all going to have one brain. It's just going to be like one big Satan. It's going to be like one really big Satan. And every Satan will have the power of a God. As in, like, he'll have like 2.5 billion strands of consciousness. One Satan. And they will be all being tortured. And they will come together at one mind and torture Satan, the one mind of Satan. Like Satan, God is going to avenge creation, all of creation, everlasting. And what Satan has been doing down here for 6,000 years is God can't sin no matter what. So God justified it in himself. After what Satan did to God's creation, and after what Satan was going to do to God's creation, God justified it within himself. God can torture Satan for pleasure. And God is going to live Satan's dream on Satan. And we don't want it noodling around in anybody's mind that God is evil, because God is never evil. It took 6,000 years of torture. Well, he wasn't really, how many people feel tortured? Not many. They feel bothered and they feel pestered. Satan was trying to torture you. Satan was trying to torture you, and serial killers belong to Satan. Like, that's who he tried to make himself out to be, kinda, nigga. So we don't want anyone thinking God done went off the deep end. Like, no, it took 6,000 years of Satan being this. And before that, it took 1 million years of Satan plotting on God and plotting on God's creation. 1 million years of fantasies. 1 million years of serial killing fantasies. 1 million years of serial killing fantasies. And God finally said, you know what, batter up. At the mark of 1 million years, Satan tried to steal God's creation, to torture it. So that's why he's been down here. God is going to live Satan's dream on Satan. Satan wanted to take over God's throne to torture God's creation. So hell, and it'll be in the bottomless pit. God don't want nobody worried about Satan. Eventually, hell and everything is going to fall, nigga. On the last day, it's just going to fall. The bottomless pit is bottomless. And the reason why Jesus turned water into wine, and the reason why Moses turned the water into blood, the reason why there's so much water on planet Earth, on the last day, the water will be turned into sulfur. Like on the Saw movies, you put your hand in sulfur and your hand melts. On the last day, the water will be transfigured into sulfur. You don't know how your mason went homes. And it's a law. Nobody feel bad for Satan. because Satan has spent 6,000 years trying to torture God's creation and get God's creation put in hellfire. That was the whole hellfire. The reason why Satan tempts man to sin is to try to get him put in hellfire. Satan has been trying to torture God's creation, and he figured, well, if God's putting him in fire, then I'll just get God to put him in fire. Satan the only one going in fire, ladies and gentlemen. That fire's hot. It's 1,000,000,000,000 trillion degrees. God made the fire alive, and he can make it hotter, nigga. That's just the starter, nigga. I mean, he can make it hotter on his own free will. He can make it hotter on his own free will. On his own free will, he can make it hotter, nigga. Illuminati, stop.